You might think being spiritually chosen is all about light, love, and power. But hold on, there's a twist you need to know about. 7 nasty enemies are lurking in the shadows, waiting to trip you up. These aren't your everyday problems. We're talking about silent killers of spiritual growth that most people never see coming. They're so sneaky, even the most gifted among us can fall into their traps without realizing it. Imagine you're on a secret mission. You've got special powers, but there are hidden traps everywhere. That's what it's like being spiritually chosen. It sounds cool, right? But here's the thing. With great power comes great danger. These 7 enemies we're going to talk about, they're like spiritual kryptonite. They can turn your greatest strengths into your biggest weaknesses if you're not careful. But don't worry, I've got your back. In this video, we're going to shine a light on these hidden foes. We'll unmask them one by one, so you can spot them a mile away. And the best part? Once you know what you're up against, you'll be unstoppable. It's like having a secret weapon against the dark forces trying to hold you back. So, buckle up. We're about to go on a journey into the heart of spiritual warfare. By the end of this video, you'll be armed and ready to face any challenge that comes your way. Trust me, this is information you can't afford to miss if you're serious about your spiritual path. Now, you might be wondering, why should I care about these enemies? Can't I just focus on the good stuff? Well, here's the deal. Ignoring these enemies is like trying to climb a mountain with your eyes closed. You might make some progress, but sooner or later, you're going to hit a wall. Or worse, you might fall off the edge without even realizing it. Think about it this way. You're on this amazing spiritual journey, right? You're growing, learning, maybe even helping others along the way. It feels great. But what if I told you that all of that could come crashing down if you're not careful? That's the risk we're dealing with here. These 7 enemies have the power to stop you dead in your tracks, to make you doubt everything you've learned, to turn your gifts into burdens. But here's the good news. Knowledge is power. Once you know what you're up against, you're already halfway to victory. It's like having a map in a dangerous forest. Suddenly, those scary shadows become just trees, and you can find your way through safely. And it gets even better. When you learn to recognize and overcome these enemies, you don't just avoid danger. You actually grow stronger. It's like working out for your spirit. Each challenge you face and beat makes you more powerful, more in tune with your gifts, more able to fulfill your purpose. So, what's at stake here? Everything. Your spiritual growth, your peace of mind, your ability to help others. It's all on the line. But don't panic. By the end of this video, you'll have all the tools you need to face these challenges head-on. You'll be able to spot the traps before you fall into them. You'll know how to turn potential setbacks into stepping stones for growth. Remember, being chosen isn't just about having special gifts. It's about having the strength and wisdom to use those gifts wisely. And that's exactly what we're going to work on today. So, are you ready to level up your spiritual game? Let's dive in and meet these 7 enemies face to face. Before we jump into the dangers, let's talk about what it means to be a chosen one. Now, don't worry, we're not talking about some exclusive club here. Being spiritually chosen isn't about being better than anyone else. It's about having a special role to play in the big picture of life. So, what does it mean to be chosen? Well, it's kind of like being picked for an important job, but by the universe itself. You might have special abilities, like being able to sense things others can't, or having a deep understanding of spiritual truths. Maybe you've always felt different, like you don't quite fit in with the crowd. Or perhaps you've had experiences that you can't explain, but that have changed the way you see the world. Being chosen often comes with a strong sense of purpose. You might feel pulled towards helping others, healing, teaching, or bringing about positive change in the world. It's like having an inner compass that's always pointing you towards your true path, even when that path isn't easy or clear. But here's the thing. Being chosen isn't all about special powers and cosmic destinies. It comes with real responsibilities and challenges. It's not always easy to understand your gifts or know how to use them. You might feel overwhelmed by the energy you sense around you, or struggle to fit your spiritual insights into your everyday life. And let's be real, sometimes being chosen can feel lonely. You might see things or understand truths that others don't, and that can be isolating. You might feel like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, or like you're always trying to bridge the gap between the spiritual and the physical worlds. That's why it's so important to understand what being chosen really means. It's not about being perfect or having all the answers. It's about being willing to grow, to learn, and to use your gifts for the greater good. It's about staying true to your path, even when it's tough. And here's a big secret. In a way, we're all chosen. We all have a unique role to play in the world. But some of us are called to be more aware of the spiritual side of things, to be bridges between different realms of existence. If you're feeling that call, if you're sensing that there's more to reality than what meets the eye, then this message is for you. Being chosen is both a gift and a responsibility. It's about being awake and aware in a world that's often asleep. It's about seeing the connections between all things and understanding the deeper currents of life. And most importantly, it's about using that awareness to bring more light, love, and healing into the world. But here's where things get tricky. The more awake you become, the more challenges you'll face. That's where our 7 enemies come in. They're not out to get you personally. They're more like tests or obstacles on your path. They're the challenges that every spiritually aware person must face and overcome to truly grow into their power. Think of it like this. When you start to shine brightly, you cast bigger shadows. These 7 enemies are like those shadows. They're not separate from you. They're aspects of yourself and the world around you that you need to understand and integrate. Facing them isn't about fighting or destroying them. It's about recognizing them, understanding them, and learning how to navigate around them or even transform them into allies. As a chosen one, you're like a spiritual athlete. Just like a physical athlete needs to train their body and face challenges to grow stronger, you need to train your spirit and face these spiritual challenges to grow in your power and wisdom. Each enemy we're going to discuss is like a different kind of spiritual workout. Tough? Yes, but also incredibly rewarding. So, as we go through these 7 enemies, remember, this isn't about scaring you or making you doubt yourself. It's about empowering you. It's about giving you the knowledge and tools you need to fully step into your role as a chosen one. Because the world needs you. It needs your gifts, your insights, your healing energy. And by understanding these challenges, you'll be better equipped to share those gifts with the world. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how do I know if I'm really chosen? What if I'm just imagining things? That's a great question, and it's totally normal to have doubts. Being chosen isn't always about having dramatic visions or supernatural experiences, though some people do have those. Often, it's more subtle. Here are some signs that you might be on a chosen path. You've always felt different, like you don't quite fit in with the normal world. You're highly sensitive to energies, emotions, or the feelings of others. You have a deep sense of empathy and often feel others' pain as if it were your own. You've had unexplainable experiences or insights that have shaped your worldview. You feel a strong pull towards spiritual or metaphysical topics. You often find yourself in the role of advisor or healer, even if you haven't sought it out. You have vivid dreams or intuitions that often turn out to be meaningful or predictive. You feel a deep connection to nature, animals, or the universe as a whole. You've experienced periods of rapid spiritual growth or awakening. You feel a strong sense of mission or purpose, even if you're not sure what it is yet. If some or all of these resonate with you, chances are you're on a chosen path. But remember, there's no official checklist or certification for being chosen. It's more about recognizing and accepting your own inner knowing. Being chosen also means being willing to step up and face challenges. It's not always about feeling special or gifted. Sometimes, it's about being the one who's willing to do the hard work of growth and transformation. It's about being willing to look at the shadows, both in yourself and in the world, and not run away. That's why understanding these 7 enemies is so crucial. They represent the major hurdles that every spiritually aware person must face. They're not just external forces. They're often internal struggles, mindsets, or patterns that can hold us back if we're not aware of them. As we go through each enemy, try to approach them with curiosity rather than fear. Ask yourself, how might this show up in my life? Have I encountered this before? How can I prepare myself to face this challenge? Remember, being chosen isn't about being perfect. It's about being willing to grow, to learn, and to keep moving forward even when things get tough. It's about using your unique gifts and perspective to make a positive difference in the world. So, are you ready to dive deeper? Are you ready to face these challenges head on and step more fully into your power as a chosen one? Great. Let's start by looking at the first of our 7 spiritual enemies. But before we do, take a deep breath. Center yourself. Remember that you're not alone on this journey. Millions of others are walking this path too, facing these same challenges. And together, we're all working towards a brighter, more awakened world. Now, let's unmask our first enemy and learn how to overcome it. This one's a tricky one, and it catches a lot of spiritual seekers off guard. But don't worry, by the time we're done, you'll be well prepared to face it. So, let's begin. Let's talk about the first big enemy that every chosen one needs to watch out for. The tricky, sneaky ego. Now, when I say ego, I'm not just talking about being full of yourself. The ego is that voice in your head that's always trying to protect you, but sometimes it goes too far. It's like having a really overprotective friend who never wants you to try anything new. Here's how the ego can mess with you on your spiritual path. First, it might make you think you're super special. I'm chosen. I'm better than everyone else, it whispers. And sure, being chosen is special, but if you start looking down on others, you're in trouble. That's not what being spiritually gifted is about. Or maybe your ego goes the other way. It might tell you, you're not good enough. Who do you think you are, trying to be spiritual? This sneaky voice can make you doubt yourself and your gifts. It's like having a bully living in your head, always putting you down. The ego can also trick you into thinking you've got it all figured out. I'm so enlightened now, I don't need to learn anything else, it might say. But here's the truth. The more you learn, the more you realize there's always more to discover. If you think you know everything, that's a big red flag that your ego is running the show. So, how do you beat this enemy? The key is awareness. Start noticing when that ego voice pops up. Is it making you feel better than others? Is it making you doubt yourself? Once you spot it, you can choose not to listen. Remember, you are not your thoughts. You're the one watching those thoughts. Try this. When you catch your ego talking, take a deep breath. Say to yourself, that's just my ego talking. It's not the real me. Then, focus on how you can use your gifts to help others. Being of service is like kryptonite to the ego. And here's a big secret. You don't need to destroy your ego. It's part of you, and it has its uses. The trick is to make it your servant, not your master. Use it when you need confidence, but don't let it run the whole show. Remember, true spiritual growth isn't about being perfect. It's about being real, being kind, and always being willing to learn. Keep that in mind, and you'll be able to spot the ego's tricks a mile away. Now, let's unmask our second spiritual enemy, the illusion of separation. This one's a real troublemaker, and it can sneak up on even the most aware chosen ones. So, what is this illusion of separation? It's the feeling that you're all alone in the universe, cut off from everyone and everything else. Here's how it works. As you grow spiritually, you might start to feel different from others. Maybe you see things they don't, or you have experiences they can't relate to. And that's when this enemy strikes. It whispers, you're alone. No one understands you. You're separate from everyone else. This illusion can show up in lots of ways. You might start to feel superior, thinking, I'm more spiritual than those normal people. Or you might feel isolated and lonely, like you're the only one on this path. Either way, you end up feeling disconnected from the world around you. But here's the truth. We're all connected. Every single one of us. That person on the street, the trees in the park, even the stars in the sky. We're all part of one big, amazing universe. Your spiritual gifts aren't meant to separate you from others. They're meant to help you see and feel those connections more clearly. So how do you fight this enemy? The key is to practice connection. Every day, try to really see the people around you, not just with your eyes, but with your heart. Remember that everyone you meet is on their own journey, just like you. They might not be on the same path, but they're all part of the same big picture. Here's a simple exercise you can try. Next time you're in a crowded place, take a moment to silently wish everyone well. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be at peace. Do this for strangers, for friends, even for people you don't like. It's a powerful way to remind yourself of our shared humanity. Another tip: share your experiences with others. Find people who are on a similar path. Join a spiritual group or an online community. Remember, even if no one in your immediate circle gets it, there are millions of people out there having similar experiences to yours. And here's a big one: practice compassion. When you see someone struggling, remember that they're not separate from you. Their pain is your pain. Their joy is your joy. The more you can open your heart to others, the less power this illusion of separation will have over you. Being chosen doesn't mean being alone. In fact, it's the opposite. It means being more aware of the connections that are always there. Your job is to be a bridge, to help others see and feel those connections too. So, next time you start feeling all alone on your spiritual journey, take a deep breath. Look around you. Feel the air on your skin, the ground under your feet. Remember that you're part of something much bigger than yourself. You're not separate. You're connected to it all. All right, it's time to talk about our third enemy, and this one's a real trickster. It's called spiritual bypassing, and it can fool even the most sincere spiritual seekers. So, what is spiritual bypassing? It's when we use spiritual ideas to avoid dealing with difficult emotions, unresolved wounds, or real-life problems. Here's how it might show up. Let's say you're going through a tough time. Maybe you lost your job or you're having problems in a relationship. Instead of facing these challenges head-on, you might say things like, "Everything happens for a reason," or "It's all part of the divine plan." Now, these ideas aren't wrong, but if you're using them to avoid dealing with your feelings or the practical aspects of your problems, that's spiritual bypassing. Or maybe you've had a spiritual awakening, and suddenly you feel like you're above everyday concerns. You might think, "I'm too spiritual to worry about money," or "Enlightened beings don't feel anger." But guess what? We're spiritual beings having a human experience. That means we need to engage with all aspects of life, including the messy, emotional parts. Spiritual bypassing can also show up as always being positive. You might think that being spiritual means you should always be happy, peaceful, and loving. So you push down any negative emotions like anger, sadness, or fear. But those emotions are part of being human too. They have important messages for us, and ignoring them doesn't make them go away. So, how do we beat this sneaky enemy? The key is to get real with yourself. It's about finding a balance between spiritual growth and practical, emotional healing. First, allow yourself to feel all your emotions, even the ones that don't feel very spiritual. Are you angry? Sad? Scared? That's okay. These feelings are part of your journey too. Instead of pushing them away, try to sit with them. Ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Next, don't use spiritual ideas as an excuse to avoid taking action in your life. Yes, everything might happen for a reason, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't look for a new job if you're unemployed. Trust in the universe, but tie your camel too, as the old saying goes. Here's a practice you can try. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did I use any spiritual ideas today to avoid dealing with something difficult? Be honest with yourself. If you did, don't judge yourself. Just make a plan to face that challenge more directly tomorrow. Remember, true spirituality isn't about escaping from life. It's about engaging with life more fully. It's about being present for all of it, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Being a chosen one doesn't mean you'll never have problems or difficult emotions. It means you have the tools to face those challenges with awareness and grace. Your spiritual gifts aren't meant to be an escape hatch from life. They're meant to help you live more fully, more authentically, and more compassionately. So, next time you catch yourself wanting to float away on a cloud of spiritual bliss, take a moment. Ground yourself. Feel your feet on the earth. Ask yourself, is there something here I need to face? Your spiritual path isn't separate from your human journey. They're one and the same. By facing this enemy of spiritual bypassing, you'll develop a more grounded, authentic spirituality. You'll be able to use your gifts not just for lofty spiritual experiences, but for real healing and growth in your everyday life. And that, my friend, is what being a true spiritual warrior is all about. Now, let's tackle our fourth enemy, one that's become increasingly tricky in our modern world. I'm talking about spiritual materialism. Don't let the fancy name fool you. This enemy is all about getting caught up in the stuff of spirituality while missing the real point. Here's what spiritual materialism looks like. It's when you start thinking that the more crystals you have, the more spiritual you are. Or maybe you believe that if you just buy one more workshop, one more course, or one more spiritual gadget, you'll finally reach enlightenment. It's like trying to buy your way to spiritual growth. This enemy can be super sneaky because, let's face it, a lot of spiritual stuff is cool. Those crystals are beautiful. Those workshops can be life-changing, and who doesn't love a good oracle deck? But here's the catch. None of these things can do the spiritual work for you. Spiritual materialism can also show up in how we present ourselves to the world. Maybe you start dressing in all white, or you pepper your speech with spiritual buzzwords, thinking that'll make you more enlightened. But remember, true spirituality isn't about how you look or sound. It's about who you are on the inside and how you treat others. So, how do we beat this glittery, crystal-encrusted enemy? The key is to remember that true spiritual growth comes from within, not from without. First, take a good look at your spiritual stuff. Ask yourself, am I using this tool to grow, or am I just collecting it? There's nothing wrong with having spiritual tools, but they should be just that, tools, not trophies. Next, be honest about why you're doing spiritual practices. Are you meditating because it genuinely helps you, or because you think it's what spiritual people are supposed to do? Are you going to that retreat to learn and grow, or to be able to say you went? Here's a practice you can try. For 1 week, strip your spiritual practice back to basics. No fancy tools, no expensive workshops. Just you, your breath, and your intention to grow. See how that feels. You might be surprised at how powerful simplicity can be. Remember, the most important spiritual tool you have is your own awareness. No crystal, no matter how pretty, can replace your own inner work. No workshop, no matter how amazing, can do the growing for you. Being a chosen one isn't about having the most impressive spiritual resume or the coolest collection of metaphysical gadgets. It's about doing the inner work, day by day, moment by moment. It's about being real, being kind, and being of service to others. So, next time you feel the urge to buy that shiny new spiritual thing, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, do I really need this for my growth, or am I just trying to buy my way to enlightenment? Your true power doesn't come from anything outside of you. It comes from within. All right, we're in the home stretch now. Let's talk about our last 3 enemies. I'm grouping these together because they often work as a team, creating a triple threat to your spiritual growth. These enemies are fear, doubt, and impatience. Let's start with fear. This isn't just about being scared of the dark or spiders. We're talking about the kind of fear that holds you back from fully stepping into your power as a chosen one. It's the voice that says, what if I'm wrong? What if I mess up? What if people think I'm crazy? This fear can keep you playing small, hiding your gifts from the world. Then there's doubt. This sneaky enemy whispers things like, are you sure you're really chosen? Maybe you're just imagining all of this. Doubt can make you second-guess your experiences, your insights, and your whole spiritual journey. It's like a constant rain on your spiritual parade. And finally, we have impatience. This enemy tells you that if you're not enlightened by Tuesday, you're doing something wrong. It makes you rush through your spiritual growth, always looking for the next big experience, the next level, the next achievement. But true spiritual growth isn't a race. It's a journey that lasts a lifetime. These 3 enemies often work together. Fear makes you doubt yourself. Doubt makes you impatient for results to prove yourself. And impatience leads to more fear of failure. It's a vicious cycle that can really throw you off your path. So, How do we face this triple threat? The key is to recognize that these enemies are all part of the human experience. Even the most enlightened masters have faced fear, doubt, and impatience. The difference is in how they respond to these challenges. For fear, the antidote is courage. Not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward despite it. Next time you feel afraid to use your gifts or speak your truth, take a deep breath and do it anyway. Remember, courage is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. For doubt, we need trust. Not blind faith, but a grounded trust in your own experiences and insights. Keep a journal of your spiritual experiences. When doubt creeps in, read through it. Remind yourself of how far you've come and what you've learned. And for impatience, we need to cultivate patience. Surprise, surprise. Remember, spiritual growth isn't about reaching a destination. It's about the journey itself. Each step, each lesson, each challenge is valuable. Try to find joy in the process, not just in the results. Here's a practice you can use when you feel these three enemies ganging up on you. Sit quietly and imagine yourself as a strong, ancient tree. Your roots go deep into the earth, grounding you. Your branches reach up to the sky, connecting you to the divine. Now imagine these enemies as a storm. The wind of fear blows, the rain of doubt falls, the lightning of impatience flashes. But you, as the tree, simply observe. You don't fight the storm. You don't try to make it go away. You just stand strong, knowing that all storms pass. Remember, being a chosen one doesn't mean these enemies won't show up. It means you have the strength and the tools to face them. Your spiritual gifts aren't about being perfect or fearless. They're about being real, being authentic, and keeping going even when things get tough. So, next time fear, doubt, and impatience come knocking, don't try to slam the door on them. Instead, invite them in for a cup of tea. Get to know them, learn from them, and then, with love and compassion, show them the door and continue on your path. Now that we've unmasked these 7 enemies, let's talk about how to protect yourself from them. I'm going to share with you a powerful exercise that I use every day. It's simple, but don't let that fool you. It's a real game changer. We're going to create what I call a spiritual shield. This isn't about putting up walls or cutting yourself off from the world. It's about creating a space of clarity and strength within yourself. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed for about 10 minutes. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths, feeling yourself relax with each exhale. Imagine a warm, golden light starting to glow in the center of your chest. This light represents your true self, your spiritual essence. As you breathe, see and feel this light growing stronger and brighter. Let it expand until it surrounds your whole body like a glowing egg of light. Now, think about each of the 7 enemies we've discussed. As you think of each one, imagine it as a dark cloud outside your shield of light. For each enemy, say to yourself, I see you. Name of enemy, I understand you, but you have no power over me. Watch as the dark cloud dissipates when you acknowledge it. Once you've done this for all 7 enemies, focus again on your shield of light. See it growing even stronger and brighter. Finally, set an intention for the day. Something like, today, I choose to walk my path with courage, wisdom, and compassion. Take a deep breath, open your eyes, and carry this feeling of protection and empowerment with you throughout your day. This exercise does a few important things. First, it helps you start your day with awareness. You're acknowledging these challenges exist, but you're also affirming your power to face them. Second, it helps you practice visualization and energy work, which are valuable skills for any spiritually chosen person. And third, it sets a positive intention for your day, helping you stay focused on your spiritual path even as you go about your daily life. Try doing this exercise every morning for a week. You might be surprised at how much clearer and stronger you feel in facing life's challenges. We've been on quite a journey together, haven't we? We've unmasked 7 powerful enemies that every chosen one must face. The ego's deception, the illusion of separation, the trap of spiritual bypassing, the lure of spiritual materialism, and the triple threat of fear, doubt, and impatience. But here's the thing. These enemies aren't here to stop you. They're here to make you stronger. Each time you face one of these challenges and overcome it, you grow. You become more aware, more compassionate, more in tune with your true self and your spiritual gifts. Remember, being chosen isn't about being perfect. It's not about floating above the world on a cloud of bliss. It's about being fully human, fully alive, and fully engaged with all aspects of life. The joys and the struggles, the victories and the setbacks. Your spiritual gifts aren't meant to separate you from the world. They're meant to help you engage with the world more deeply, more compassionately. They're tools to help you bring more light, more love, and more healing to yourself and those around you. Stay aware. The more you understand these enemies, the less power they have over you. Stay grounded. True spirituality isn't about escaping from life. It's about living it more fully. Stay open. Your journey is unique, and there's always more to learn and discover. Stay connected. Remember, you're not alone on this path. Reach out to others, share your experiences, and offer support. Stay compassionate. Be kind to yourself and others as you navigate these challenges. Most importantly, trust yourself. Trust your experiences, trust your insights, trust your journey. You were chosen for a reason. The world needs your gifts, your wisdom, your unique perspective. So go forth with courage, with wisdom, and with an open heart. Face these enemies not as obstacles, but as opportunities for growth. And remember, every step you take on this path, no matter how small it might seem, is making a difference. You are making a difference. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the 7 enemies every chosen one must face. If this video resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe. And let me know in the comments which of these enemies you've faced in your own journey. Remember, we're all in this together. Until next time, stay aware, stay strong, and keep shining your light.